Let's start day 3 of our 100-day creative challenge, where we work along with Suleika Jaouad's Book of Alchemy and complete 100 prompts in either a written journal or an art journal or both. And day 3's essay is called The Art of Dailiness by Michael Beirut, and he created a challenge for 100 days for his students to do something, anything, small or large, for 100 days and commit to it for 100 days. And he talks about the empowering nature of committing to doing something every single day. And so for today's prompt, that is what we're going to talk about, is write about a time when you began doing something daily. And for me, again, just like the challenge for day 2 being hard for me to visualize, and for day 1 being hard for me to visualize in ways, day 3 is hard because as a person who has a bit of a chaotic nervous system for a variety of reasons and a bit of a chaotic neurotype for a variety of reasons, committing to doing something daily is a really big challenge for me. And there's very few things, even at 36 years old, that I do the same every single day. And that's especially up until the last 2 years. And the only thing that I could come up with that I do actually every day now, and that I recently started doing every day in the last year or two, is eating lunch. And I know this might sound ridiculous and might sound silly. Like, Jess, what do you mean you just started eating lunch every day? And so bear with me. There was some shame and embarrassment in having this be the thing. It was not doing yoga every day or doing some big creative endeavor every day. Like, I would love to say I paint every day. I would love to say I move my body intentionally every single day. And while I do those things a lot, I do those things more often on days than I don't do them. I don't do many of those things every single day. And I deeply struggle with routine, and I deeply struggle with committing to structure. And this has been something that has committed to years of burnout and struggling with a overridden nervous system for a lot of my adulthood and early adulthood or early adolescence and childhood. But I was an overachiever, and a lot of my perfectionism and my overachievement counteracted the suffering that I had to go through in order to be successful at things. And so I struggled deeply throughout my life with mental health and depression and other things. And that always got in the way of me keeping any sort of consistency with things, because I would give up, get flustered, get overwhelmed. And so for me, eating lunch every single day is massive, because I would say my entire life I have struggled with eating. And it wasn't until my 30s that I discovered that I have struggled with avoidant restrictive food intake issues, ARFID. And I have to be careful how much I talk about this stuff here, because I get flagged as a medical advice page if I go into too much diagnostically or around my actual official things that I work with, either as a therapist or in my own mental health. So I'm going to use abbreviations, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit less of a longhand format so that I don't get flagged for content warnings. It's not that they don't allow it, they just restrict kind of how far the reach goes if you talk too deeply about certain topics. I'm still trying to figure that part of this out. But anyways, I figured out that I had this issue with food, and that I avoided in food intake because my nervous system and my neurotype were so overridden so much of the time that food was not important. And when you live in a constant state of fight or flight, your basic needs often go out the door. And for some people, it's eating. For some people, it's going to the bathroom, drinking water, tending to their basic needs. Sometimes it's all of it. And sometimes it's binge eating. Sometimes it's always eating. Sometimes it's constant food noise, and it's the opposite of not eating. And so thinking about those things that you do every day, or that you struggle to do every day, things that you want to do every day if you don't do things every day, and exploring any shame that you feel around what you do or don't do every day. I think the idea of the prompt from the book is more around, what do you do every day that's beneficial, or what do you do every day that's had an impact on you? But I'm going to kind of allow and push a little further to even think about the things that you want to do, or that you think you should be doing, or thinking about if you didn't do these things every day. So if you're somebody who eats lunch every day, who moves their body every day, who does all of the things that you feel like you need to do to function and be fully functioning as a human, what would happen if somehow you couldn't do those things? Would you be okay? Would you feel okay? I mean, I've had people come to me in therapy work and things like that where they were okay until they couldn't do their things anymore. And then when they couldn't do their daily activities, when something got in the way, they were injured or they were sick or something like that, it was like I never made a plan. I never thought about what my life would be like if I wasn't able to do these things, because I've just always done them and I've always been able to do them. And so however this relates to you is relevant here. And for those just joining the challenge, I am doing this kind of double time. I'm creating 2 layers to this process for myself. I'm doing a written prompt response for the book, and then I'm also doing a watercolor journal response for the book because I wanted it to be a visual representation, and I tend to write a lot, and I was like, maybe I'll just write and draw and paint in the same journal, but I felt like it was going to be too cluttered, so I'm doing 2 different journals, but you can feel free to do writing and painting in one journal. You can do painting and just paint and don't write at all. I mean, whatever feels good. But the writing feels like a nice way to springboard into the painting. It provides more context for what I'm painting. So this is the snack plate that has changed the game for me as someone who's had a really hard time eating lunch every day for a very long time. And this snack plate, I have a whole bunch of these in different colors. And I am going to create basically a deconstructed version of the snack plate that I have pretty much every single day that helps me have lunch every single day. In order for me to get myself to do this and commit to it every day, I had to make it accessible. I had to have like a protocol around eating lunch that meant that there was very little friction between me and actually eating. And I had to minimize the amount of what was getting in between me and that. So if it's for you, if it's exercise or movement or creativity, like really starting with what's getting in the way of you doing that thing every day. And so for me, it was accessibility. I never knew what I wanted to eat. I struggled with food paralysis and food decision paralysis all the time. I just would freeze up. It didn't matter what was in my cabinets. I didn't know what I wanted and I didn't know what I liked. And I am a very picky person and I'm very particular about how I like things. So to get things to the place that it needs to be for me to like it is so complicated. And so I had to reduce the friction. So I had to decide what is something that I can eat every single day. And I can eat it the same way as long as I have it the same way. And so for you, if it's exercise or if it's some other habit that you want to get into, reducing the friction between you and the thing that you want to do, and then creating accessibility, having the thing that you need available to you. So if you wanted to, let's say, go on your Peloton every day, or you wanted to take a walk every single day, like are your shoes that you need to go on your Peloton or are the shoes that you need to go on your walk available to you right there? And are the socks right there? And is the outfit that you're going to wear right there? Or do you have to go find the shoes, find the socks, find the outfit? And for me, it was I had to find the food. I had to go to the grocery store. I had to put together the, lunch. And I had all these standards around what I thought my lunch should look like. So is this daily habit? Are you comparing your daily habit to someone else's? Is there someone who spends an hour journaling every day? So you tell yourself you have to journal an hour every day, but maybe you could journal for 5 minutes every day. Maybe you could work out for 5 minutes every day. And maybe that would actually make a difference because it's compounding versus you telling yourself, I need to do an hour and then never actually doing anything at all. And so, again, reducing friction, making it more accessible, and minimizing the expectation and comparison around how you feel like you need to be doing that thing. And asking yourself, is it actually true that I need to be doing it that way? Do I need to have a very fancy lunch every single day in order to be an adult? Or can I have a snack plate that looks like something I would have had in elementary school? And can I create something for myself that feels accessible as a human, as an adult human, and as a neurodivergent human? I am a neurodivergent human, and I won't go into my specific, diagnoses here because YouTube doesn't really love all of that for the channel that I have, but I am a neurodivergent human. I have trauma. I have a complex neurotype, and so I need to have certain things a certain way. And because of the shame that I have carried around my approach to things for so long, that got in the way. So reducing the shame for me was a big part of reducing the friction around me and the food. And then it meant being okay with eating the same thing every day. And it meant being okay with those things being pistachios and a salad and some chicken nuggets. And so this little person thing here is a little chicken nugget person. And I was looking up like drawings of chicken nuggets to see how other people have drawn chicken nuggets. And so many people created little characters out of their chicken nuggets. So I decided to go fun and playful with this. And so I have these gluten-free chicken nuggets every single day now. And again, I'm back to the signs. If you watch day 2 video, I started to create little signs that said what things were when my drawings sucked. And so if you were to look at this at first, you would probably not know it was a chicken nugget. It is not really chicken nugget shaped. So I just made a sign that says, I am a gluten-free chicken nugget. And then this one here, I also tried to create a chicken nugget and I couldn't do it. And so I created a sign that says, I don't know what I am, question mark. And I just started giggling to myself. And then I found myself in this process of laughing while journaling, which was not something I was expecting. I was laughing at myself because it was silly. It was not technical or skillful at all. And normally in the past, I would have just scribbled this out. I would have said, this is stupid. I got to give up. And this would have been the friction, me creating drawings that don't look artistic, that don't look professional or impressive. That word impressive that we had in video 2, in day 2 comes back of like, I don't have to be impressive in this journal. I can just create whatever it is that comes out of me, and that can be part of the process. So I really challenged myself to put aside the shame as a friction point and allow it to be fun and playful and to even make fun of myself in a non-self-deprecating way if I needed to. So check in with yourself. Let's do our inner parts check-in and see what parts are showing up here today for our journaling session. Are you being harsh on yourself and critical and shaming? Are you being nice and kind and empowering? Like, how are you treating yourself internally right now? What are you telling yourself about your process right now? Are you telling yourself that your drawing or your painting or your process isn't working? Are you feeling introspective and deconstructive? Are you feeling proud? Like, what's coming up? What are you telling yourself? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about what you're drawing? How are you feeling about what you're writing about? How are you feeling about what you're hearing in these videos? And just checking in. How am I feeling? What am I telling myself? What do I need? Is your mouth dry? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Are you watching me and thinking I needed, a snack? Like, take care of yourself in this process. Make this cozy. Get comfortable. Grab a blanket. Light a candle. Like, let's make this a whole little thing for ourselves. And so I'm doing some bubble letters here. This is another part where my N doesn't really look like an N, and I got frustrated, and I'm just going with it on this one. I am just treating this like my binder in high school or junior high, and I am just having fun and not letting myself get caught up too much in the technical details. And noticing when the parts come up, noticing when my technical part that wants me to create better drawings comes up. I want to notice it and ask that part, what do you need? Why are you being so mean to me right now about this journal? And reasonably, it's because I don't want people on YouTube to think that I'm an imposter and that I have no business creating a video about sketchbooks if I can't actually sketch. That part wants to protect me from embarrassing myself and keep me from, feeling that I have done something that's disappointing or not good enough. And that part's come from a lot of years of different people, different things, different parts really blending together to tell me that I'm not good enough. And this whole process of sharing is challenging that. All the hate comments I get when I share my art on Facebook, I get so many on Facebook. I've avoided for many years sharing on Facebook, but more recently, Facebook has incentivized creators to go over there and share. And with all that hate, I still do it. I still keep going. I've found my voice and how to respond to them in a way that doesn't get me angry or raged. And I allow myself to continue and do it anyways. So keep going through those voices and tell those voices that they are doing a great job trying to protect you. Like, we don't want the parts to feel threatened. Those parts want to hang out. They've been around a long time and they want to know that they're going to be seen, heard, and understood, just like you, just like anybody. They want to be seen, heard, and understood. And so just saying, hey, I hear you. This is ugly. We don't really love this. It's not feeling great, but let's keep going anyways. And that's the exact thing I do. Up until the very moment that I am adding color to this journal, I am just telling myself, keep going anyways. Just do it anyways. Just keep pushing through. And I didn't always have that voice. I didn't always have that voice that was strong enough and confident enough to contend with the other parts that were telling me to stop, that I wasn't good enough. And so if you're in that place where you're still feeling really judgmental about what you're putting down, just know that continuing to push through it will create the confidence. When I look at this sketch, I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of it. I really, really genuinely am not someone who considers themselves a technical drawer. I can't say that word. My Boston accent gets in the way, and I have worked really hard to get rid of my Boston accent. So there's very few things I can't push through, but that's a hard one. The draw, to draw. Hey, what are you going to draw today? No, that sounds terrible. Anyways, do you ever watch those movies that people are faking the Boston accents? Even like people from Boston, they like act their Boston accents and it sounds terrible. And that was just what that sounded like. The temptation to edit that out, but I'm just going to keep it real. Okay, I'm adding color to everything. So it's starting to make things look a little bit more poppy and a little bit more real. I have this little nifty towel wristband thing that I'm using for my watercolor instead of wasting more paper towels. That's been kind of helpful. I think it's honestly a little set I got for face washing, and I just started to use it for paint. So anyways, after kind of sitting here and looking at everything, I decided that I was going to create kind of a pop art feel. It feels like a little poster. It feels like a little comic. And so I'm just kind of going with that. And I am thinking as I'm going through this process just how far I've come in being able to show up for myself. And I know that I am not doing things every day that I feel like I quote unquote should be doing. And yet here I am. And so I'm thinking maybe I might even get to doing this whole challenge 100 days in a row. Maybe I will commit to trying to do this journaling every single day. I don't think I'm going to be able to edit a video every single day and post it every day. But I think it's feeling more and more accessible to me that I might even be able to do this for 100 days. And the lunch, I've been eating lunch now for a couple of years. It's been almost 2 years of eating lunch every day. And that feels crazy to say because it feels like I just started. But in the beginning of the year, for 2026, it will have been about 2 years of me eating lunch every day. And what's the impact? So if you're somebody who's like, hey, wait, I don't eat lunch every day, or I don't eat every day. I go all day and then I won't eat until, dinner. I'll have like a protein bar, or I'll have like a quick bag of chips or something, but I don't eat. I mean, I think I don't want to shame anybody's lifestyle. I don't want to shame anybody. I think that there are so many things that get in the way of us being healthy. And for me, I would go, 10 hours of seeing therapy clients back to back when I was working outpatient community health. And I would have nothing. I mean, I'd have maybe a couple of pieces of candy or some sort of weird snack, but like I went so many years. And when I was in high school and you'd sit down to have lunch, I'd get like a bag of Cheetos, a bag of Fritos, and a Twix bar. And like that would be my lunch. I would never ever have a real lunch. And even when I was in elementary school, I would get spoken to by teachers who'd say, where's the rest of your lunch? Because my mom would send me with a yogurt and like a granola bar, and that would be my lunch. And my mom never understood either. She was a teen mom who like thought that was lunch. And I think there was a lot of layers to that I could go into in a whole separate video. But in general, just lunch wasn't prioritized. And even now when you go to my family and you see my family, like we don't really eat lunch. None of them eat lunch. We'll go out for an entire day with my family and no one will stop to prioritize lunch. But we'll all eat this massive dinner. And there was also this idea that if you didn't eat during the day, you'd at least eat your dinner. And I never ate my dinner. I was someone who I never finished my food. And so my mom, I think at times would almost... Unfortunately, she would restrict food from me because she didn't think I would eat my dinner if I would eat too much food. But in reality, like I should have just been able to have eaten when I was hungry. And there was times where I would be sat at the dinner table until the morning because I didn't eat food. And so thinking about your relationship to whatever it is that you are doing daily and what has gotten in the way. And so for me, it's a little deep, right? Like these videos always seem to go a little deeper. But like I said, I'm treating them kind of like my personal journal here as I go. So I'm just going to allow myself to talk and see what comes up. And so for you, if it's not as deep, that's okay. But thinking about what gets in the way and how you can change up or better understand your relationship to the friction so that you can minimize that friction and allow yourself a space to start to invite in what is accessible. And maybe that's just starting with, like I said, 5 minutes of movement. Or for me, it was just starting with knowing that I liked certain foods. I had to figure out what I ate and then make those foods available in the house. And then eventually the snack plate came together. I knew I liked pistachios, and that was a good source of protein and nutrients. I knew I liked a really good salad with lots of toppings, also pretty healthy. I knew I loved chicken nuggets, and I found these amazing chicken nuggets, these Ian's chicken nuggets that I loved so much. And I found these snack plates that allowed me to organize it, and the tuna fish that I lovingly call Toon. All of these things came together to create a healthy lunch for me. I've even recently figured out how to create a copycat Wendy's Frosty that is bananas and all sorts of healthy stuff. So I am so proud of myself, and I'm so proud of you for being here, for showing up to this process. So talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you are going to do daily, what you've done daily. What did you write about? What did you write about? And what is your relationship to that thing that you do daily? I want to hear about it. Talk to each other in the comments. If I don't respond, I have read it, but I haven't had the time to formulate my response yet. So please respond to each other. Let's talk in the comments. Let's make this an interactive, community-based challenge. Let's do this together. I am so happy you're here. If you've enjoyed this, please please subscribe. I'm going to kind of have this little spiel that this is a non-traditional YouTube channel. I am not using any fancy equipment, fancy editing. Clearly, I am just allowing myself to be here, to show up raw, vulnerable, and real, talk a bit about my experiences and what I'm coming up with from these prompts, and hoping that this inspires you to start to think in a more organized way about what's going on the inside of you. If there's any place to start, if there's any way to get to doing something daily, it's to start organizing that inner chaos. It's to start organizing who you are, understanding who you are, and being okay with who you are, and releasing that shame. I mean, look at these 2 pages. They look so cool to me. Even though they aren't perfect, they're not the most technical drawings. Like, I am so proud of my little chicken nugget, man, my little gluten-free chicken nugget. Like, thank you for being here. Take a big, deep exhale as you close up your practice here today, and keep showing up, keep introspecting, keep asking questions, keep loving yourself, and I will see you soon for day 4.